Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Sam and I are happy you joined us, along with our guest, Brent Duncan, who's Athletic Director at CHS. Brent, a little bit of a weather problem today?
Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of us, we just postponed the JV football game. Field conditions are a little sloppy and muddy, and just postponed the varsity girls soccer match, and Greensburg canceled the boys varsity soccer match at their place today. So kind of a safety. I walked out on the fields and water slushing up on my shoes, so there's some standing water. It just rained so much today, and
Yes.
unfortunately, I think it's going to continue all week, so hopefully it'll be shutting down here pretty soon, but it doesn't look good for tomorrow. You know, we're supposed to have 16 cross-country teams coming in tomorrow, and it's supposed to be a lot of lightning, so we'll have to make that call again tomorrow.
It's a huge event, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of the sectional schools come and run, because we also sectional here started October, and they like to come down and run just to get on the course, and hopefully it'll be able to pan tomorrow and things can dry out a little bit, but only somebody upstairs knows what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, and that's not me.
So. Weatherman usually doesn't.
Well, you're only going to be, that's about like Major League Baseball players. You're only going to be right about 30% of the time, and you're okay.
Out of your control, you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we got some mud standing in the soccer goalie place, and that's not fair to our goalies to have to stand in the mud, and just as wetness as it is. And when I walk out and it starts to come up over my tennis shoes, it's in certain places. It's not every place, you know. Obviously, some of our fields are a little higher in the spot, but you can't have safe spots. And all of a sudden you're running, then you step in a hole and it's sloppy, muddy, and down you go. And of course, back in we played this when you wanted to play, but now you got so many more safety concerns.
Some of the kids could get injured in that kind of atmosphere, couldn't they?
Yeah, I think it's not the right time of the season to get injuries either. With the tournament right around the corner, you don't want to have any of your girls or your guys get hurt out on the field at this time of the year, and maybe they missed the sectional, which could have an effect on the outcome of that game as well.
That's an event you can't make up, can you?
For
the cross-country meet?
Well, it'd be hard because everybody's penciled in, you know, it's in the middle of the week, and they typically only run about one big event a week, and so if we can't get it in tomorrow, they're all probably booked just like we are. We're booked the next week to go, and it's next week is our Saturday's the cross-country conference, so we're not going to run besides then, so it'd be hard to get it made up, and after that, we're almost to the sectional time, so.
Where's the conference?
It's always going to be at Batesville this year. That's the cross-country coaches decided they wanted to have a consistent course so that they could kind of measure their times each year as to where their kids are at, where they think they should be in the season. They thought if they had it on the same course consistently, they'd be able to judge the gauge where their kids are at year to year at that time of the year.
Somewhat centrally located in the conference as well.
Yeah, you know, and there is an advantage, I think, at cross-country courses. So I do think in the long run it gives Batesville just a little bit of advantage just to know your own course. You know, people say ours is hard and they think it's hilly, and I look at it and I'm not sure I think it's hilly from some things that I used to run on, and Batesville's got some up and downs in their courses too. So, but if that's what their coaches wanted and they wanted to have a consistent place so they can compare times year to year, then that's what we're here for, is what the kids want. So if that works out best for them, then that's great.
I wouldn't have thought where you came from would have been hillier than
there are a
here
few
in
places.
Southeast Indiana.
There are a few places where you run. Depends on where you run. If you run some of those, you know, parks and stuff, that makes a little difference. Or sometimes on a golf course, so it makes a little difference. But it's pretty flat up there.
Yeah. So were running shoes invented then when you ran?
Called tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Or spikes. A lot of them ran in spikes. So unlike today's spikes, they're a little bit different.
Spartans got possession of a football trophy.
Yeah, I got to keep the War 44 trophy, which is great for our kids. And kids did a good job after the game, and you know they always want to get their picture taken. And so we took a picture with the seniors and the whole football team, and the football team and the cheerleaders. And then, you know, for a little bit of that, you got to be a little respectful of you're standing on the opponent's field, and you really don't want to be out there too long.
Sure.
Cause a little bit of animosity, but hopefully if somebody didn't get a picture, wants a picture, they can get it this week and get your picture taken with it. So.
A ball game, no, a lot of defense in the ball game, because the Sam were, what, 88 points?
88 points total.
We played quite a bit early, but we kind of, I don't know if it's just changed some people in the second half. Maybe we didn't have all of our starters in. You know, had some other issues going on, but missed some of that. But
I thought it was smart to get the running clock going. We needed 2 points after a touchdown to get it to a 35-point spread to get the clock running. We were able to run that in, start the running clock, which was to our advantage, and it's kind of like let's hang on and finish it out.
I think there's some people who were a little upset that we didn't kick the PAT then, but there's a reason why you want to get to that 35. And
right.
once the clock starts running and there's no stoppage, it definitely shortens the game and puts it into your advantage. And, I don't know how many people understand that if once some team gets ahead by 35 points in the last 3 years, the clock's going to stay running. And that's to your advantage to get that. If you're close, you might as well try to get it and get to that point where the clock's not going to stop on a out of bounds or a penalty or only on a score or an injury. So for us, that was an advantage to get to that point to help us with the clock management.
And it was nice. It was great clock management. It's nice to be on the other side of that because we've been on the side of having the clock run against us too many times.
Yeah, it's not good for the kids. And, in either way, it's not great, but it's better when you're on the top side of that, 'cause it gets the game over, less things that can happen, less things that can go awry. So there is some strategy why we went for 2, and we didn't do it to try to rub anybody's nose in it or anything like that. So, and then once we got the running clock, we just ran the ball the rest of the night. And for me, when we're in that spot, if you run the ball and I can't tackle you, then that's on us. And if, we run the ball and they can't tackle us, then that's on them. We're not out trying to throw a long pass and do all those things. So, because I know Seifert ran the ball quite a bit late in the third and fourth quarters and just tried to keep the ball in bounds and kill the clock. So
55-33 was, Sam.
Go ahead.
Was the final score with Spartans on top. And we have some footage from the game between Rushville and CHS, and here it is.
Beautiful night for football.
yeah, it's a great night. Good weather, a little warm actually for this time of year, but my biggest gripe is when you're on the visitor, you got to stare at the sun until at least halftime, and it's pretty bright standing over on that sideline. But the kids came out. Chad made a great catch on that pass early in the first quarter. We got out the lead and we gave up a touchdown right away, but then our kids came right back and scored again. And I thought
that was important.
I told somebody at halftime, I think I might have said on the radio, we're up 33-7.5 or whatever the number was. And if you remember 2 years ago, we went over there and they got that onside kick on us, and the whole momentum turned. And whether it was an intentional onside kick or an accidental onside kick, I don't know. But it was important that we got the ball the second half and come right out and went down and scored a touchdown to kind of set that tempo again.
Rushville tried that onside kick a couple times and didn't work for them.
We got a lot more hands kids on the kickoff teams than we used to have, so that's a good thing.
But it's nice. I think we'd scored 60 points all season long, and we scored 55 on Friday night in one game. To me, it was entertaining. Both teams putting more points on the board than they normally do, and made it good for the fans.
Yeah, it was a great crowd. We had a good crowd. They had a great crowd. It was their homecoming night, and it's not always good to be somebody's homecoming. So when you can take that win away from them, that's a little bit of a feather for your kids to know that you took somebody out on their homecoming night. So let's hope this weekend we can take Simon Kenton down for our homecoming. And don't know anything about them other than Coach says they're probably similar to Lawrenceburg in the long scheme of things, about 1,800 kids in high school. So we'll see.
I've looked them up. They didn't play Friday night. Evidently, I don't know, didn't have a schedule or just had a bye week. But they are 0-4. But I'm not sure what kind of competition they play. I looked at some of the schools and wasn't real familiar. It wasn't like they were playing Cincinnati Molar or somebody like that. But I'm sure they'll be ready for us. But
well, hopefully this will give our kids a little bit of a springboard and a little enthusiasm and momentum, and see what we can carry over for this Friday night. Be nice to have a homecoming win and sit at 2-4, rolling out of here. So
how'd that come about that we have a Kentucky?
Well, we've been looking for about 2 years because we knew Jennings County was rolling off, and we just couldn't get anybody that wanted outside Cathedral. And we're not quite ready to play Cathedral, so I tried to get a team from way up north to meet us in the middle, and they didn't want to do that. And Coach Jackson found this off of the coach's website and said, hey, they're interested. If we're interested, and I said, that's fine with me. At least we have an opponent. I didn't want to have a bye week for this coming week. And
1 year deal?
1 year here, 1 no, so 2 total. We're going to go down there next year. And,
see what happens after that.
And then we'll play it by ear from there. If we think it's a good deal, we'll stay with them. If not, we'll put a feeler out anyway, just to say, hey, if there's somebody who wants to play us week 6, but we know we have them in our, possibly renew them in 2 years, unless we can find someone close around here that wants to play us.
Somebody said they thought that they were Division 6 or 6A or whatever, but Kentucky could be totally different the way they classify.
Yeah, I don't know how
we do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their classes are down there, so. But
doesn't matter.
It's good to have an opponent and glad we're playing somebody.
Good.
Simon Kenton from Independence, is that right across the river.
Just across the river. It's about 75 miles to get there. So we've driven a lot farther to play football games and basketball games. Where Huntington North was 110. So used to be a conference member, and then you go down to Jeffersonville in the old SCC conference, and we've traveled quite a bit if we have.
Yeah, I've been to
and we're not afraid to go if we need to.
Jeffersonville.
So we've been to Lafayette and Columbus and Bloomington, and you name it, we've been to all those places.
Sure. Game time is
7 o'clock.
okay. I thought maybe with the extra mileage.
No, I think they're good. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it's 7. So
Good. Okay.
I know our JV kids are supposed to, if we have enough kids still. We finally got everybody back healthy, and unfortunately, feel bad for them not playing tonight, but hopefully we're still healthy come.
What are
Come
the plans
Saturday.
for homecoming? What
Football.
does that include?
Well, they'll have the parade and the floats prior to the game at about
Okay.
6:40, and they'll have the crowning of the king and queen at halftime. I'll leave that all to people. I open up the gates and get them in, and they'll bring me the scripts, and they pick the themes, and we've got homecoming Olympic games on Wednesday night, and we're going to try and do them on the football field, but I think that got nixed today as they told me they're probably going back to the gym. So I got a feeling the field's not going to be too dry on Wednesday, and I don't think they want to be out there running on the field
And
on Wednesday
Brian
night.
probably like to keep them off of it as long as possible.
Well, we're supposed to have middle school football game out there tomorrow too, so we'll have to see how that pans out with what the weather does between now and then. And it's just hard, you hate to not have games, but you also want your field to look good on Friday night when it's homecoming night. But we'll do the best we can to get them all in this week.
Is the old Spartan Field, Grandview, is that suitable for middle school
no
makeup
lights,
game?
no lights, no bleachers, no scoreboard.
Okay, so no.
I'd say no currently. So, but
Well, I'm thinking things will work out though.
well, they always do for one way or
Right.
another.
Right.
So do the best we can, try to get our kids as many opportunities as they can to play, and hopefully it'll be good by tomorrow.
Get some victories. That's what we need. And
People talk about our numbers in football, but football is a tough one. You got to have numbers to win, and to win
Sure.
and to get numbers you got to win. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. There's lots of kids I think that could be playing that could help us, but you can't also go in and make them play either. So they got to want to come out and be a part of it and try to change that culture. And there's a lot of kids in our high school that can do a lot of things for us, whether it's sports or clubs or. But
it's
they
not
gotta
just a
find out.
problem here at Connersville, I don't believe. It's
No, I don't think it's unique to us. I mean, I've been to enough places and look at sidelines in football, and when a lot of teams can't even field a freshman basketball team anymore, boys or girls, those numbers, and that didn't used to be a problem ever.
sure.
And soccer's growing, so the numbers in soccer's, and some schools starting lacrosse, so that's going to hurt some football, and I'm sure there's been a little bit of a push for boys volleyball, and who knows? But if you put a boys sport in, you got to put a girls sport in. So girls wrestling is getting a little steam. So we'll see where things go.
Do you think that's a possibility very soon?
Girls wrestling?
Girls? Mhm.
Outside of bowling, which schools don't have any bowling alleys, so I would say girls wrestling has a pretty good shot in the next couple of years, if I was guessing.
But how many would you need for a team? I mean,
Well, you got to have 150 schools that will be able to participate, evenly spread throughout the state. You got to have at least 40 in the District 1, 40 in District 2, and 40 in District 3, but you got to have at least 150 schools that are interested in having a. And then they'll do it as an emerging sport and see where it goes from there. They can get the push and they get to the girls. There's probably 600 girls in the state wrestling right now, and
Really?
2 of the Olympians were from Indiana on the U.S. Olympic wrestling team or Indiana connections. So
They're members of the boys team right now.
currently they're wrestling boys. I know there's a few schools up north that have their complete girls squad, so maybe they wrestle each other, but they also wrestle with the boys. So I think more girls would wrestle if we didn't have to wrestle with the boys. That's my opinion.
Sure.
So,
Do you think Connersville will be a candidate for the girls?
I think if they put it in, we'll definitely look to try to get one.
Sure.
I mean, put it in, you think back to when we started middle school softball, middle school baseball, started middle school tennis this year. So,
How do you, what boys sport would you balance that with if you added a girls sport?
Well, that's a question because, there's talk about whether will gymnastics sustain, will it not? If gymnastics goes out, does girls come in? But if you put a girls sport in by the rules, you got to stick in a boys sport. So I don't know what sport that would be. I'd say there's probably more schools playing club volleyball than anything. Lacrosse, you got to have a field, and there's some push for 8-man football around the state for the schools that don't have football. So that's through the Football Coaches Association, just trying to get more kids involved. So
You talked about football and then traveling around. It does seem like the numbers standing on the sideline are down. Maybe it's just the teams that we're playing. Around the donut counties in Indianapolis, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Well, you stop and think about the population of Fayette County is less than, what, 12,000, if I'm guessing, or right in that area?
Population of Connersville is about 13,000.
So
right
how
now.
many's in the
county? The county is under 25, and it used to be pushing 30, and the city was pushing 17 or 18. So.
And I think I counted up last year in Hamilton County alone, there's over 14,000 students in Hamilton County. So you think of how many kids are going to school in those places compared to how many kids we have coming out here. So I realize they're not all in one school. Half of them are in one school, but the other half. But, you know,
and back when we had more boys playing football, maybe looking way back was before when we just had Girls Athletic Association and didn't have girls sports and didn't have as many other boys. You know, you had football, baseball, and basketball.
Yeah, for a long time that was it. You had
track
tennis, track, and cross country, and wrestling, and not always had swimming. And you know, they've added. You know, soccer was a big one in the fall, and a lot of kids like to play soccer, and if that's what they like, you can't take that opportunity away from them, and you can't be mad at them because that's what they want to play. So
exactly.
You got to have a little bit about you. You got to find the passion that you want, and if you love the sport, you come out and play. And sometimes I think kids forget that they play so much so little, and you know, we've talked about a lot of things why football's at low numbers, whether it's the concussions from the NFL or maybe they start tackle football too early. Maybe it's flag football's the interest to get the kids' interest back in, and then don't let them get hit by the big kids until they're 6th grade, 7th grade, instead of getting hit at 9 and 8.
And it's work.
It is. I mean, every sport you work at is work, and you know, some are more demanding. You want to talk about work, get in the swimming pool and go swim. You talk about work, and you know, and wrestling's the same thing. You know, it's only 6 minutes, but that's 6 minutes of heck on the mat when you're trying to do all you can for 2 minutes to keep somebody from pinning, and you get all your exertion going consistently. You know, like football, you can go 8 seconds and rest a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't rest in 2 minutes. In 8 seconds, you're resting. In wrestling, you're pinned. You don't do everything in the pool for 8 seconds, you might drown. So, you know, there's a lot of hard work that goes in. You know, kids that run cross country run all summer long to be in shape. So you just got to make that commitment, and you got to have a lot of kids that make that commitment to be successful. So.
You mentioned 8-man football. What is that?
8 guys on the field. A lot of states have 7 or 8-man football.
Do they?
Yeah. So Indiana is one of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 that probably doesn't have something of them. So football coaches are exploring it with some of the schools who do not have a football program to see if they might be interested in starting a football program. You can take a lot of the smaller schools that are under single A that maybe don't have enough kids to play 11-man football, but maybe they can get 8. So, but if you have an 11-man team, you can't have an 8-man team. So.
How does that differ from?
Well, you just have 3 linemen, I think, and you got a quarterback and receivers and running back, so probably have 3 to 4 linemen instead. So I've not really watched it. So a little bit on ESPN 30 every now and then. But, so
It'd be interesting to watch. I've never watched it.
Well, there's some guys in the NFL that play 8-man football just because of the state they live in, and you know, good athletes. If you're a good athlete, you're a good athlete. Doesn't matter what if you play 8-man or 11-man, they'll find you. So, but be different.
It's interesting. Yes.
We talked about a little bit last year at the board is, let's just say somebody in our conference thinks they'd rather be an 8-man football team than an 11-man football team. Where do you find your opponents? How do you fill your schedule? How far would you have to travel? You know, I mean, what does that look like? How do you get a schedule laid out?
How many games would you end up having to play?
Right, and how far would you travel? And you know, because out in the West, up in some of those states in the North, they're spread out all over. So they do play 8-man football because they don't have, but they travel and for a long time to get to a game.
Sure.
So that's all logistics if it happens. So.
Let's look at the schedule for this week. We've had, as you say, several postponements. Coach
Tennis is going to try to get it in tonight if they can, but they're waiting until 6 to start. So.
Okay. So what's left?
Nothing for the high school tonight at home.
Okay. So we'll go to Tuesday, and tennis will be at East Central. Volleyball is home with Cambridge City in the cross-country invitational. Spartan Field at 5:30 is start time, right?
Yes.
Wednesday, girls soccer home with Knightstown. On Thursday, boys soccer home with Oldenburg Academy. Girls soccer at Lawrenceburg. Volleyball home with East Central. The EIAC tennis tourney is underway and it continues on Saturday. On Friday is Spartan football, home with Simon Kenton, Kentucky, and Saturday, girls golf regionals starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do we have participants in that, Coach?
No, unfortunately, we had a girl miss going as an individual by just a couple, 3 strokes.
That is too bad. The IAC cross country meet at 9:30, and that's going to be at Batesville. Okay. Boys soccer home with Shelbyville at 12 o'clock noon. Volleyball at South Dearborn, EIAC tourney at, that's the one that continues. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning. And
the soccer match on Saturday's changed from Shelbyville to New Pal, starting at 10.
Okay, as
Shelbyville decided they didn't want to play us. So,
Afraid of us?
unbeknownst to me, when I went to get the contract, they said, we're not playing anymore. I said, when did that come about? I don't know. My assistant said he told you. I said, we're a sectional opponent. Why wouldn't we play each other? So New Pal jumped in. So we're going to play New Pal starting at 10 in the morning. And varsity will be first right now, and JV will be second.
Shelbyville going to look at other.
So they picked up somebody closer. I don't know.
Okay.
Not like we're far away. 36 miles.
I know, because I called and said, hey, you haven't sent your contracts back. Oh, we're not playing you. Okay.
Is that the only game affected from Shelbyville? Or are they going to?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Right now,
soccer.
That's the only one. Well, I hope that they continue.
It's a coach's decision or what. But it is what it is. But at least the Dragons decided they needed a game. I'm going to come. So.
Okay. Here are the records area football teams. Richmond is 1-4. They lost 48-20 to Marion at Logansport on Friday. Union County is 3-2. They lost 39-19 to Winchester. They'll be at Union City on Friday. Franklin County is 3-2. They lost 41-0 to Lawrenceburg. They'll be at Greensburg Friday. Cambridge City is 0-2. They haven't played a game since late August. That's the reason they only have 2. They'll be home with Nicetown Friday, so hope that they can get underway. Centerville is 4-0. They won 69-9 over Tri. They're home with Northeastern on Friday. Rushville is 0-5 after losing 55-33 to the Spartans. They're home Friday with North Decatur. Well, it was great to get a win for the Spartans, and now we can get one Friday night.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get them to build momentum, keep everybody healthy, and
that'd be great. Yeah,
get our kids back, and spirits ought to be good.
Tough games coming up though, following.
Yeah, our end of the season's not the. If you think typically of the conference outside of Franklin County, Lawrenceburg, East Central, and Batesville have probably been the 3 strongest, and that's the kind of the meat grinder right in the end, starting with East Central, followed by Lawrenceburg, and then Lawrenceburg is going to be do some things with the National Guard. So it'll be hometown hero night, and then the last game with Batesville senior night. Sure, we'll try to slip in some pink out in there somewhere in October. So
More than halfway through the regular season now. 5 games under our belt.
Well, I had a meeting with the IHSA today that we all had to attend, and as Robert Falcon said, 6 weeks till wrestling, which is hard to imagine that wrestling starts in 6 weeks. So, but it's all coming around the corner. It's just girls golf sectional's over. We got cross country sectional coming up in a couple 3 weeks, and I got to have all the entry lists for the girls soccer, boys soccer, and tennis in by this week. So it's just knocking on your door, and you don't think it gets there that quick, from where we were at.
Some workouts already going on with winter sports.
Yeah, our new wrestling coach Colton Gonzalez got our kids coming in 2 days a week like they can, and seen them in the pit. And Coach Brown and Coach Harder have the girls and the boys in the gym, and Joanne will get ready to start up. Of course, most of our girls who do gymnastics at the top level go in all year round and work out with them in the gym, and then swimming's getting ready to roll. I know had the opportunity to get in with some of our coaches, and Coach Bittner, our head swim coach, is unfortunately for us is the girls golf coach at Rushville because he teaches over there. So Stephen and Keith Faber and Zane Sprague have had the opportunity for our kids to get in the pool a little bit. And won't be long, we'll be full-fledged indoors.
And looks like right now that we're going to be able to have fans at all these venues.
So far, we've not had any change in notifications or guidance that has been given to us. So right now it's full go. As I said on the radio on Friday night, we got, not to plug basketball right now, but we're also selling the Hall of Fame tickets in the office for $10 for each session total. Get you into both sessions, the morning session and the evening session. We have those in the office, and we can get up to 2,000 tickets if we need it.
That's very inexpensive for a day of
No,
basketball.
you can see 4 games in a day, and then as you go down along, we're going to have some invites at home this year, and if you read your all-sport tickets carefully, they're not really good for our invites. So we got the shootout there at the beginning of November with us and Decatur Central, Southport, and Cardinal River for the girls, both varsity and JV, so that'll be a ticket at the door for everybody. And then we have that 8-team tournament coming December 23rd with 4 girls teams and 4 boys teams. There'll be 8 games in the bowl starting at 9 in the morning, and we'll go till we're done. So hopefully it's about 9 at night and we'll be out of there. But and your all-sport ticket won't be good for those just because it's an invitational. So first time we've attempted that, we'll see how well that goes.
Well, it'd be nice to show off to some of those teams the best high school gym in the state of Indiana.
That's why we voted. And then, of course, the Spartan Classics on the 28th and 29th, and that's currently looking for 1 team. I got 31 commitments, so I had 1 bail out on me last week. So we'll put that little feeler out and see if we can get team number 32 to get here on the 28th and 29th. And if you like wrestling, it's $15 for 2 days, and you can watch about 880-some wrestling matches if everything goes off right.
That's a lot of wrestling.
A lot of wrestling.
Strong teams always come to that, don't they?
Yeah, they kind of come in and go. You know, Fishers and New Pal's come in, and Valpo comes down, and we've had that Mater Day up before, and Cathedral, and Roncalli, and Carmel, and they switch, so you never know who's coming in and who's going out. Charlestown from the southeast corner comes, and Fort Wayne Snyder from the northwest, northeast comes. So we've had them from all 4 corners and a lot in the middle, and so.
And this is year number.
Well, I kind of lost track after we didn't have last year, so it's either
in the
49 or
Is it in the
yeah, I
40s?
think it's 49. I don't think we're quite to 50 yet. So I think the last one was 48, and
That's quite an event.
you know, and I think we're going to rename it and put Coach Taylor's name on the program and have it as the Mac Taylor Spartan Classic, and
That'd be great.
so we'll put that on our programs and keep him in our memories and keep him part of our program.
He was, I saw social media where he was recently inducted into the Newcastle High School Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I heard that just last week, so that's good honor for him. And obviously he was a tremendous high school wrestler with 208 wins in his high school career, which hard to get those today because you got a little more limitations on how many times you can wrestle during the season. So it's kind of hard to get up to those 50 numbers. But, you know, hopefully we'll keep putting our foot forward and move forward, and Coach Gonzalez will come in and hopefully get our kids to play. And if you remember Colton, he wrestled here 6 or 7 years ago and got to the state finals and finished 7th or 8th. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but
Big addition to the coaching staff that somebody that's been there and done that.
Yeah, you know, he wrestled
knows the
Division II
tradition
at Lindsey Wilson in Kentucky, and then transferred to Marion and finished out his last year or so at Marion University in Indianapolis, and those are Division II schools down there, and did a great job, and NAI schools, and so.
We talked a little bit the other night about that NAI school, there's some good competition in their athletic programs, and been professionals come from those ranks as well.
Oh, I think so many kids, as I tell parents and kids, they get hung up on the Division I, but you know, you just take Hanover. They may not get the best kid, but they might get the 2nd or 3rd best kid from 4 or 5 different teams, and all they care about is winning. So that's the attitude comes with them. So it's about work ethic, and then they got a little different mentality because they're not always the best player, but they've worked their fannies off to get to where they're at, and that makes a little difference in how they play together as a collective group. So.
Brent, I always appreciate you stopping by and bringing us up to date on everything happening at CHS.
It's always busy. It's one of our busiest weeks, so there's not unless the rain plays havoc, there's not a quiet night this whole week or Saturday. So.
Winter sports are right around the corner, as you say, with the fall sports winding down.
Girls basketball, I think, rolls off about October 17th, so right around fall break. So.
Any new people on the schedule?
Well, other than our tournament, you know, we got Madison
great.
and Cowan and Winchester coming to that for the girls, and then in the boys we got Bloomington North and us and Monroe Central and South Decatur on the boys' side.
Should be great.
Monroe Central and South Decatur should be pretty strong teams, even though they're a single A school. They got some big recruits coming in there. So.
I don't recall Monroe Central ever being here. Maybe South Decatur years ago in a regional or something.
Yeah, that's about it. So.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report on TV3. Good evening.